Okay. Yeah. So today we're going to go through some online companies best reviewed by our teachers. We have two guest speakers today. We have Kate, who is working with the TEFL Institute of Ireland with us, and we also have Quiva, who is a current online teacher. They are both going to go through some experiences, some of their best TEFL companies that they've worked for and everything like that. At the end, we're going to have a Q&A session. So if you think of a question, you can just write it in the chat box, but we will come back to it at the end. And then we are going to go through a little bit about our courses or anything that we can do to help you guys just be a better online teacher and to get those jobs with those companies. So I'm just going to give it over to Kate first, and she has lots to say to you. Thank you, guys. I'll see you at the end.
Hi, everybody. So I'm sure that some of you already know me, and I've done a couple of courses with some of you. I can see you there, Samia, Tony, Emma. Lovely to see you. Okay, so I'm just going to basically run through my I suppose journey with teaching English online, and I'm also going to give a few reviews of online companies as well. Okay, and I'm sure some of you are so sick to death of hearing my story for the fourth and fifth time, but just for everybody that is new here, I suppose I started off in the TEFL world in 2013, and I've been teaching in language schools ever since. But in 2015, I decided that I wanted to, I suppose, I was teaching for longer stints in countries, and I suppose I wanted to kind of go shorter and do a bit of traveling while working remotely. So I actually decided to start teaching online in 2015. And I eventually, I started with an online company, and I've worked with a couple. And then in 2017, so I had 2 years practice online. And in 2017, then I actually set up my own company, and I'm still running that company and still working away with it. And I absolutely love it. It's the absolute freedom. It's the best. And we do have a couple of other webinars that are on our YouTube channel that some of you have attended before. But we have one, for example, for teaching English online in general, or setting up an English company online. That's another one that we have. So I'm going to try and focus on this topic as much as possible. And if there's any other questions, you can just pop them in the chat box, and I'll be sure to answer them here. Okay. Okay. So the first thing I kind of want to go through, I'll be going quite quickly through this. So if you have a pen and a paper, you can take things down. And just so you know as well, we will be sending a follow-up email with some notes and information as well. So if you don't get everything down, don't worry too much. Okay. So I suppose the first thing I want to run through for teaching English online is requirements, okay? Because I'm sure that all of you here now want to know, are you eligible to teach online, and do you qualify? So the first thing I want to say is that you actually don't need a teaching degree, okay? A lot of people think you need a teaching degree to do this, but you actually don't. If you are a fluent speaker and you have a TEFL certificate, you can teach online. Okay, that's simple as that. The one thing you do need, you definitely need your TEFL training, and you need to have a very good level of English. Okay, some companies require you to have a bachelor's degree, and some companies require you to have experience, but others don't. So obviously, if you're somebody who holds a bachelor's degree, has a bit of experience, and has a TEFL certificate, then you're going to have the most options. But also, on the other hand, if you're somebody who has just got their TEFL training or is looking to get their TEFL training, so you don't have experience and you don't have a degree, there are still options out there. They might be a little less, but there's definitely still options out there. And I'm going to run through a couple of companies that fit each of those requirements. Okay, other traits that will benefit you as an English teacher, an online English teacher, is to be likable and to have a good energy, because having a good, I suppose, relationship with your students is half the battle. Okay, that's half the battle. Okay. For people, before I go into it as well, for people who don't have a TEFL certificate here, okay, who are not TEFL trained, Becky will be going on to speak about a brand new course we're launching for teachers or budding teachers. That's the perfect course to set you up online, and it's called a Professional Online Expert course. So if there are any questions about TEFL training, we'll leave them to the end, okay? And Becky will be running through those courses. Okay, so if you're somebody here who has a bachelor's degree, has 1 year experience in TEFL teaching, okay, it doesn't have to be online. If you have 1 year teaching at a school, okay, and has a TEFL certificate, there are two companies that I would really recommend that I found to be the best. Okay, the first one is Wales English. Okay, so that's just Wales, WHALES. They are a massive company in China. Okay, so your students are basically going to be Asian. It's an online teaching school and there's contracted hours. Okay, so that means it's not so much freelance. You go on, you get a job, you get 9 to 5 or whatever the time might be, and you get contracted hours. A regular class you would get from anywhere from $20 to $26. And you can get bonuses as well, which would end up being maybe $30 a class. Okay. With this company and with similar to other Chinese companies, you need to teach a minimum of 8 peak hours for them. And then you can add on as many hours as you like. So you need to do a basic minimum of 8 hours, and then you can add on as many as you'd like. This company as well, the one thing I love about it is that the curriculum is completely provided. So that means that you don't have to be planning lessons, which is a plus. And you'll find that in most online teaching schools, not the freelance platforms now, but the ones that you get contracted hours and you get a basic wage and everything like that. There nearly always is the curriculum provided, which actually saves you a good bit of money. So that's nice. In this one, there's multiple kids in a class, okay? There are options for one-to-one, but the majority of your classes are going to be multiple. You're going to have a couple of kids in the class. And to be honest with you, most of it is focused on young learners. So if you feel like this is a company that might interest you, I would make sure that you have maybe a teaching young learner certificate, and maybe a bit of an add-on to make sure that you're fully qualified for that kind of a company. We have a 30 hours teaching and learners course that you could avail of if you don't. Okay, the next company I want to move on to, people who fit that criteria, is one that I've worked with for 2 years. I worked with them in 2015 to 2017, and they're called Fluentify. They're a fantastic company. The difference with this company is that they're more freelance. Okay, so you're advertising your profile on their page, I suppose. Okay, they focus mainly on business English, and they focus on adults and one-to-one lessons. Okay, so it's complete opposite to Wales English. It's adults, business, and one-to-one lessons. So if you're somebody who might maybe want to fit that category, and as well as that, it's European. It's based in Italy. So it's European timing as well. So I suppose with the other company, Wales English, there are more Asian kind of hours. So maybe early in the morning and maybe 7 to 10 in the evening. But with Fluentify, it's based in Milan. So there's much more European kind of hours. That might suit some people. Some people might be working already. So whatever kind of suits you. Yeah, so I've worked with them for a long time in 2015, and they're a fantastic company. They really are. Again, you're going to need some kind of business background to work with them, or a business English course. Okay, we have a 30-hour business English course. If you're interested in that company, I would suggest doing that one too. Okay. And other companies might include, for somebody who has a bachelor's degree experience and TEFL training, there's another one called Magic Ears. Okay, they're very popular. Go Kid, if you want to take that one down. And as well as that, there is Zebra English. Okay, that's another one. Okay, so moving on. Okay, So the next one I want to look at is for people with a TEFL certificate. You have a degree, but you have no experience. Okay, so that could be a lot of you here, that you have a degree in any discipline, you have your TEFL training, or you're going to do your TEFL training, but you have no experience. Okay, you're fresh out of training, you're freshly graduated, so you want to build up some experience. One company that will take you that don't require experience are Say ABC. Okay, teaching experience is preferred, but it's not necessary. With that company, it's $13 base pay, and there's like a $4 incentive as well. So normally it works out about $17 an hour. And every time you convert, what they do is they give every student a trial lesson, and then that student will get a lesson for free. And if that student converts, then you get an $8 bonus as well. Okay, so that's quite handy. And with Say ABC, what I like about this one is that there's only a minimum 1 hour a week commitment in comparison to like Fluentify and Wales English, where you need like a minimum of 8 or 10. You only need to actually commit to 1 hour a week, which is really handy if you're somebody who wants a couple of hours on the side. Okay, another company that take people with a degree and a TEFL training is Landi English. Okay, Landi English. Normally they pay from about $10 to $18. Okay, now they do require 12 hours a week minimum. Okay, and then you can build on that if you want, and you can choose if you want to do group lessons or if you want to do one-to-one lessons. So that's quite handy as well. And I suppose other companies then that will take people with a degree and a TEFL certificate but no experience are VIPX, okay, and EF, English First. Okay, they're another company that will take you if you don't have any experience and you're just freshly, I suppose, graduated or freshly trained up. Okay. Okay. The next kind of category I want to talk about, these are for people here today that have no degree, okay? You don't have a bachelor's degree and you don't have experience, but you have a TEFL training, okay? You have a TEFL certificate, or you're looking to get one. You will be getting one soon, okay? Okay, so the one company I would recommend if you're somebody who fits into this kind of criteria is they're called Out School, okay? Just Out School. There's €30 an hour, and basically how they work, I suppose the downfall of this one is that you have to create your own lesson plans and do your own curriculum. They're more like a marketplace essentially, okay? So they take 30% commission on whatever you charge on the lesson, okay? So you can actually set your own rates, but they will take 30% of what you charge. So when you're starting off, it might be a bit difficult, but as you build your profile and as you build your ratings up, like in any other online teaching company, it does get easier. You set a fee, okay? You set the fee, which is nice. And you can have multiple kids in a class. So if you have large classes, maybe of 8 or 9 kids, then you can charge each one. So the larger class means large payouts, okay? So that's a good one, Out School. And then other companies that will take you, if you don't have experience or you don't have a degree, Cambly, Preply, Verbling, and Palfish, okay? These are 4 companies that will take you as well if you don't have those requirements. And what I would say as well, guys, is I know I've mentioned the different schools and the different companies with different criteria. There's no harm in chancing your arm with one of the schools. So for example, if you don't have experience, just apply anyway and just say, look, I understand that I don't have experience, because at the moment there's a lot of companies looking for teachers. So there's no harm in applying to all of them. If you have maybe a bit more of a comprehensive training course, if you have, for example, a couple of extra specializations in teaching English, like business English or young learners or something like that, then you might have a better chance. I would just say go for all of them. There's no harm. Even though it mightn't be a requirement on the website, they might make an exception for you if you're somebody who's really lively, bubbly, really good cover letter, things like that. So there's no harm in applying to those anyway. And then I'm not sure if there's anybody here who's a non-native speaker, but I just want to let you know of a few companies that will hire non-native speakers as well. So Preply or Preply, I don't know how people pronounce it, but that is a company that will take you. iTutor, they do require you to have a degree and experience though. VIPX, okay, they are another company that will take non-native speakers, but they do require a degree. And Verbling is another company that they don't require a degree or experience. So that's a great one too. Okay, I have like 3 or 4 minutes before I pass you on to the lovely Quiva. So if anybody has any questions, yes, great. I can see a few questions here. I'm going to answer them quickly. Oh, sorry, Alison, can you repeat that? Apologies if I was speaking a bit fast. Samia, Kate, can we have a list of all those schools emailed? This webinar will be recorded, okay? But as I do want to say, guys, if there's anybody here who has a few extra questions after the webinar, no problem, please get in touch with us either tomorrow or send us a quick email and I'll be happy to suggest those companies to you, okay? Gabriella, could you write them down, please? Okay, I'm just gonna see if I can copy a few into the chat box here. Okay. Okay. What I might do is I might get actually Becky to add them in for you here while I'm just answering a couple of questions. Okay, Adam. Hi, Kate. Adam here from the 10-hour course. How are you? Do many or any of these schools offer compensation for class prep time? Very good question, Adam, but no, they don't. That's, I suppose, the one flaw of teaching online, because if you're in a language school, they do give you time for lesson planning and things like that. But with teaching English online, it is down to yourself to kind of do that. So that's no to that one, unfortunately. Chandler, how would you recommend creating a plan for lessons if you're going to work for a company like Preply? Well, Chandler, if you have a course, I'm sure you have a course with us, but we have a great lesson planning guide that you can download if you don't have it already, and it just gives you an advantage or a way to plan lessons. I don't know if you've done the 10-hour teaching course, but it's normally the PPP method that you would use in lesson planning. There's a lot online, a lot of resources on YouTube, a lot of ESL kind of websites that you can use. If you want to give a call, I can run through a few of those with you at some stage, maybe next week, no problem. Okay, Gabriella, I have a degree, but I am not a native speaker, just very fluent. Well, yeah, Gabriella, that's great. There's a couple of companies that would take, for example, iTutor, Verbling. They're all companies that would take non-native speakers. Just be sure to have maybe a couple of extra specialist courses, so you're not just going in there with the basic 120-hour, try and kind of branch out a small bit, maybe stand out on your CV. And that will really help your application. And if you haven't done teaching experience, I would recommend doing the 10-hour course, just because going into an application, when you say you have 10 hours teaching, you have a teaching practice certificate, it makes the world of difference. Celeste, I have a TEFL cert, no degree. Would you suggest starting with young learners first? I would actually. Celeste, that's a good point to bring up. It is easier to start with young learners, because young learners normally, obviously, it's a bit easier language. And as you go up, I suppose, with adults, the English teaching might be a bit more focused, maybe more specialized. They might want to focus on business or work English or medical English, something like that. So yes, definitely, Celeste. Shannon, if you are working as an online teacher while traveling, how do you handle taxes? Are you classified as a freelancer? Yes, well, it depends on what type of job you take. If you go with an online teaching school, that you've contracted hours for, then they will tax as normal. So if you're working 9 to 5 and you've 37 full hours and all that type of thing, they will tax like normal. But if you are going with a company which is 80% of the time, like online English teaching companies, you are an independent contractor, and you are expected to act as freelance and take care of your own taxes, depending on what country you're in or depending on what country you reside in. Okay. Sanya, can you apply for any of these online schools while taking your TEFL? You can, but I wouldn't suggest it, because I feel like there's such a massive demand for teachers now. And if they read your application and they say, no, she's not TEFL qualified, move on. It would have been different before, but because everybody's teaching online now, I wouldn't suggest that, Samia. So I would get your TEFL done before you start applying for the jobs. Okay. Chandler, yes, I've done my course, so just wanting pointers to start. Great. From your experience, which company is the best to deal with? My experience, the best company I've ever worked with is Fluentify, and of course my own company. I'm going to put it out there. But yeah, I like Fluentify, and they're great. Do all the companies pay through PayPal? A lot of them do. Some of them use like things like TransferWise and these transfer websites. Okay. Okay, Connor here from the 120-hour course. Have a degree at TEFL Cert and about to do a 30-hour online teaching course. Well, that's a great course to have. Would you recommend doing the 10-hour teaching course? Okay, Becky will talk about that in a minute. And I know there's some people in here who've done the 10-hour course, but yes, 100%. 100%, because having, number one, it's a great course. If you haven't taught online, it's done through Zoom, so you can kind of learn of how you would actually be teaching online. Secondly, it's a teaching practice certificate you'll have when applying to jobs, which is fantastic. And Samia, yes, it's a great course. Thanks, Samia. And the third thing as well is, I've lost my trail of thought now, so there is no third thing. Yeah, but I would suggest getting that bit of practical experience in as well. Okay, right, guys. I'm going to pass you over to Quiva now. But keep writing away your questions, and I'm sure Quiva will get to a few, and I'm sure Becky will get to a couple at the end as well. So thank you for listening.
Thanks, Kate. Hi, guys. It's Quiva. I've probably met some of you guys before in a webinar. You might have seen my TEFL talks every second week. I'm going to cover the 3 companies I've worked with. So I've worked with iTutor, Ingu, which is also known as Bebo, and Palfish. Before I begin, I'm just going to say what Kate was saying is really beneficial to constantly be upskilling. I know for myself, I'm currently doing the business teaching English course, and I'm also doing a course to help with English exams. So it's always good to upskill, even if you have a job. Just keep doing it, okay? So first off, I'm going to start with Palfish. This is a Chinese company, and you need your phone for this. It's not done on your laptop. You will have to have a uniform. It's usually, I think it's a blue top. I haven't worked with them for a while, so I'm not sure if they've changed it. And then you will have to have your background decorated with the Palfish logo and with just like some pictures. So you're mainly going to be working with children, and it's one-on-one lessons. The rate of pay is between $7 to $14 per 30-minute lesson, but some lessons are a little bit longer as well. So what's great is even if a child doesn't show up to the class, you will get a set rate of $7. So that's really great. I noticed when I was with them, there was a lot of like empty lessons because they're doing trials. And if a child decides then that they want to purchase lessons with Palfish after their trial, then you get a little bonus as well. You do work with adults too, but it's on Free Talk. So Free Talk, you can set your own rate. It's basically, you just say, I'm free to talk now, and they'll ring you on the phone and you just talk to them usually they just want to talk about their daily lives or particular interests. It's just for them to build up their English skills and daily conversation skills. With the children, you have set material that's provided for you, and they really recommend as well having little props. So maybe if you're teaching about fruit, they will recommend that maybe you have an apple with you, just to really engage the child, because at times it can be hard to engage children. As well as this, Palfish is really based, it's like inspired with social media. So you have to attract your customers. So you will have, it's kind of like Instagram or something. You're like posting images from your day saying, oh, like this is, I went on a walk today. This is the beautiful field I saw. What's your favorite thing to do in the day? So you're constantly trying to engage children through images. Maybe you'll post pictures of your favorite cartoons or movies, just so they can see that they have something to relate with you. And also you can do stories. So a story time is like you'll record yourself reading a book that they have for you, and then you just post it. So it is really about gaining followers on Palfish. And what is good about Palfish is they have chat forums for teachers, and you have like a kind of manager that will answer all your questions. So if you're in a group chat with loads of teachers and you're unsure of something, people put in their own tips and answer your questions. So it's like a community. You do have to put a lot of energy into it, which for me was a little bit of a con for it, just because I was working in Thailand at the time and I didn't have time to be constantly updating stuff. But you know, there is good money in it as well, which is great. They also are paying through Payoneer. You'll just have to set up an account with them, and from Payoneer then you can transfer the money over to your bank account. Okay, so next we have Ingu, which is also known as Bebo. Okay, I use them a lot. Okay, they pay you through PayPal. You are going to be only getting $5 set per hour. I'm sorry, set per 25-minute lesson. Okay, and they deal with all your taxes. So although the pay isn't great, I do really like this website. With the exchange rate at the moment, you're probably coming out with like €4.28 per 25 minutes, which is quite poor. But like if you're living in a foreign country, like I was living in Thailand, that translates as a lot of money, and it's fine. One thing about Palfish I forgot to mention is that you have to do 5 set hours a week, okay, of peak times that they select, okay? But with Ingu, it's completely a free schedule. You decide when you want to work, if you want to work. You can go 90 days without teaching a lesson. So if you get really busy and you want to go traveling, you can just leave your account and you don't need to worry about losing your account or profile on their website, which is really great. So you're doing 25-minute lessons. It's one-on-one. You can either be teaching children or adults. They're usually all from Japan, although it's a Filipino company. And with the children's lessons, it's usually Let's Go books, which they provide for you. Oh, yeah, they have Let's Go, and then they have their more simplified lessons as well, which is just maybe on colors or numbers and stuff like that. But it's all provided for you before the lesson. Yeah, and it's really, really easy to work with this website. That's why I like it so much. The adults are usually doctors or professors from Japan, and they just want to improve their fluency. Their fluency levels are really high, and it's usually just free conversation, and it's just enjoyable, really, to be honest, and you can really just learn from them. So although the pay isn't great, it is very easy, and you will, like, if I open my classes, they're sure to be booked as soon as you build up a profile. If you do initially struggle to secure lessons with Ingu, I would suggest applying to get your badges. So they have certain badges that you can have for children or for like teaching business English. And it's really doesn't take a lot of time, and it just answers a few questions about why you'd be able to teach these certain areas. And that means when a parent or an adult types, I want to do business English, your profile will come straight up. So it's good. Like I really like Ingu, bar the pay. There's no uniform. There's no background needed. Just a good Wi-Fi and a good connect. Like a good quiet area, and that's all you need. So I really like Ingu for that. And then lastly, I'm going to talk about iTutor. So this is a really well-known company. It is Chinese. So it deals mainly with children, and then you have adults as well. So you can be teaching a one-on-one class or a class of up to 1 to 6 students. If you're teaching a one-on-one class, it's 25 minutes, okay? You'll be getting minimum $8 for that. If you're teaching a 45-minute lesson, which is a group lesson, you'll be getting minimum $11, okay? And as your rates go up, the students will mark you after every lesson. So as your rates go up, it means you can get a pay increase. It means you will be getting bonuses. But the best way to be getting bonuses with iTutor is to be putting in lots of hours, okay? There is a lot of training you have to do when you initially start up with them, just to work out their forum, the material that they use, and also they just constantly want their teachers to be improving. So with the children, you're using Let's Go books, which is a really common, for foreign English speakers to be learning that when they're kids, and also they have their own material too. So you have to do 5 set hours a week at their peak time. So for instance, I will always have my Saturday and Sundays from 11 till 3, and then I think it's like 10 till 12 on a Sunday. They're set, like I have to do them, and then I can just add to it. As well as this, you have to have a uniform, so you will have to have, sorry guys, my computer has just confused me. You will have to have, oh gosh, what is happening? My bad, guys, sorry. There's something happening. Okay, I'm back. Sorry. I must have clicked something there. So so you have to have a red uniform, and you have to have your background decorated. You can see my Halloween classroom there. Just iTutor has to be seen in the background as well. So the pros is that all the materials provided, and even if it's stuff you're not familiar with, they have a section on the side where they literally write word for word what you can say. So that's really good if you are worried about your first few classes. And yeah, it's just great because you actually have to do no work for that in preparation. The only cons are just like the random set hours, and also a tip that I said in the last webinar I was in. They will pay you different rates depending on what country you're based in. So for instance, when I initially got my job with iTutor, I was working in Thailand at the time. So they took the rate of pay in Thailand and were going to pay me that. So it was, I think, like $4 or $5 for a 25-minute session. But I knew that my friends who were using it in Ireland were getting minimum $8. So I turned down the job. So just be aware when you are applying, be aware what country you're in, just so when you're telling them, they're not taking into consideration a country with poor pay, okay? So yeah, that's what I would say. I do have referral codes that I'm going to pop into the chat for Ingu. So it just means when you're signing up, you can pop in that I referred you. One, it's good that you have kind of a connection to the company, so it'll look good when you're applying. And also it's helping me out. So I look good for the company too. So I'm going to pop in my referral codes for Ingu. And I'm going to also pop in my referrals for iTutor. But if you guys have any questions, feel free to pop them in the box, and hopefully I answered some of your questions there. Okay, thanks.
All right, so guys, I hope you enjoyed it. So thank you for listening. Before we start, I know she's just going to put in her referral codes there. I am also going to put in a code as normal for everybody. It's webinar 13, so this will give you 13% off any course if you'd like to do it with the TEFL Institute of Ireland. and that is going to be active then for the weekend. So you can start popping in your questions there if you have any questions for either me or Quiva. I'm not an online teacher, so Quiva will definitely be able to answer those ones for you. Yeah, so for TEFL qualified people, I see there's a lot of familiar names here. So for TEFL qualified, if you're after doing the 120-hour or the level 5 course, and maybe a couple of specialist courses like the teaching online or the young learners, but you don't seem to be getting anywhere because you have no experience, a great idea is our 10-hour virtual day course. So this one runs either on the weekend or on a Wednesday and Thursday night, so it doesn't cross over with a 9-to-5 job or anything like that. It's absolutely lovely. Kate is one of the tutors actually, and she'll run that. So it's just 4 hours a day because it used to be one day. And it used to be in-person one, so we used to run it in Cork and Dublin and everything like that. But obviously with everything that happened, we moved it to virtual, and we split it up into 2 days because that is way too much computer time to be staring at a screen. So it's now built into 2 days. It's absolutely lovely. And it has teaching practice. So it's absolutely amazing for your CV. And it will really help you when you don't have that experience. And even, not even for the CV, but you actually, the teaching practice is very helpful, especially if you're shy, if you've never, been in front of either the camera or the classroom before. It is quite good because obviously TEFL learning is online and it's nice to practice with other people. There's workshops through it and everything like that. So that's an absolutely lovely course. And you can use that webinar 13 to sign up to it, and you can pick your dates online. So if you're not TEFL qualified and you're thinking about signing up, hold off until Monday. We have a new course launching. It's absolutely amazing. So what it is the Professional Online Expert Package. Okay, so it'll have your 120-hour TEFL course. That's the main TEFL qualification. It'll have the 30-hour teaching online course and the 30-hour young learners course, which obviously are the two ones that really are the best for online teaching. And it'll also have that 10-hour course in it. So it's a huge 190-hour TEFL package, and it'll have all those within it, and you'll be absolutely set. You really don't need anything else after that. It is going up for 409 euros. But if you pre-register, the pre-register link is going to be in the email tomorrow. You'll be getting, everybody on this webinar will be getting an email tomorrow, and there'll be that pre-register link there. So if you pre-register over the weekend, you will get a discount and a voucher of 100 euros, and you will set you up then once it's released Monday. So that'll be absolutely amazing, and there's no commitment there, so you might as well pre-register, get that 100 euro voucher, and be able to sign up then. Yeah, so I think that is it. I'm just going to double check these questions, and if I need help from Quiva, I'm going to call on her. So can you teach for different online schools at the same time, or are there some restrictions? Yes, you can, but be sure not to do too many, because what happens is you will mix up your time and you will book, or you'll overbook yourself and you'll double book yourself, and you won't turn up to lessons. You'll be too tired. Something like this will happen, and you will lose your reputation with that company. So it is a good idea sometimes to maybe do two at the same time, just because of the hours that are available if you have no other full-time work going on, especially. So that's a good idea, but make sure you're picking different time slots that you're available and you're not double booking yourself. When teaching online, can you use a VPN to show you're always in Ireland in order to get a better rate of pay? Not too sure about this. I'm going to bring that one over to Quiva. I know the VPN will work, but I think it's just upon registration when you're registering for the company. But Quiva, if you can just confirm that with me.
Yeah, I'm not sure about this one either, John, but I don't think they'll look too much into it. It's more like when they say, what country are you in? Just don't say, oh, like I'm in Thailand. Just say you're living in Ireland and give that address, because that's all they really, I think they just need to know where their tutors are from and where they're living. But I wouldn't be sure about that. But I just know for myself, like when I am planning to move away next year and go to Vietnam, I will not be telling iTutor that I'm now in Vietnam, so change my rate of pay. Like they'll still think I'm in Ireland. So I don't think they're gonna really hone in that much. It's just more for when you're signing up, just say you are living in Ireland or England or something like that.
Lovely, thanks for that, Quiva. Yeah, and there's another one there for you, Quiva. Why did you leave Palfish, if you did?
Oh yeah, so I left Palfish just because it wasn't as reliable for me. I had a lot more freedom with Ingu. That's what I was using when I was abroad, because people weren't turning up and I was just sitting there on my phone. And also it's a lot to try and keep getting people to be attracted to keeping up to date with like posting stuff every few days. It was just a lot, and I wasn't going to fully commit to that, so it just wasn't good for me at the time. But it's not a bad company, like it pays really well. It's just if you have the time to do it and the energy to do it, then do it. There is another question as well about what's Ingu's policy on a degree. I just asked them. You don't need it. You just need your 120-hour course, and you don't need any experience. Just come across nice in your interview and make it clear you can speak English, and you'll be fine. So, yeah.
Perfect. Thanks, Quiva. Yeah, I think we're after getting through all the questions. Remember to use the webinar 13 code, and you will be getting an email with absolutely everything, guys, tomorrow. And yeah, so I think that is it. And I hope we've helped you. I hope you get jobs. Again, as Kate said, you know, the phone lines are always open. Pop us an email. I'm sure you have a TEFL advisor name of an email that you have. If you don't have anybody or have a representative from the TEFL Institute of Ireland, just email hello@tefl.ie and we'll be able to help you. We've a good response rate, if I must say so myself.
You do.
Yeah, and obviously remember to use Quiva's references, and that will definitely help you if you're planning on going with one of the companies.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, guys, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you.